kids, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of The MonkeyBoy Presents the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss. And today I'm happy to bring you issue number 98, Animal Man. Another, I think, relatively obscure hero from the DCU, although he has had a resurgence in popularity, especially with the New 52, where they kind of upgraded and updated and slightly rebooted his origins a little bit, but for the better, honestly. Really great series to check out. If you're familiar with the character, you might know him from recent appearances on Cartoon Network during their DC Nation block of shows in one of their DC shorts, where he's appeared in a couple, I believe, and they've been fun appearances, you know, brief little things. You can find them on YouTube if you search. If you don't know anything about Animal Man, well, that's why, of course, we have the magazine, which will tell you everything there is to know about the hero known as Animal Man, also known as Buddy Baker in his civilian life. And then we'll take a look at the figure itself, covering the good, the bad, and the ugly. Another really nice figure, another really interesting character. I hope you please sit back, relax, and enjoy issue number 98 of the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss, Animal Man. First up, the character section. Where we learn that Buddy Baker was only 19 years old when he was hunting in the forest and came upon an alien spacecraft. When the craft landed, it let off an explosion that nearly vaporized the teen. The peaceful aliens that accidentally injured the teenager took him on board in an effort to heal him, literally weaving him back together again. When Buddy was returned back to Earth, he found that he also now had superpowers. Took on many different villains in the DC universe, and also learned how to manipulate his powers in many different creative ways, including a time when he came up against a mutant rodent-human hybrid that managed to hack off his arm. Buddy reached out using the life web to get in touch with a group of earthworms so he could regrow his limb. He's also teamed up with many heroes in the DC universe, including fellow animal-themed hero Beast. And during a time when Animal Man's powers went out of control temporarily, he joined up with Martian Manhunter and the fledgling Justice League of Europe. Were eventually returned to normal after he and his fellow hero Vixen discovered that the alien spacecraft that had once given him his powers was trapped at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro. Vixen and Animal Man successfully defeated the evil duo of Muhammad Ali and his sidekick Taboo, saving the aliens, who returned Buddy's powers back to normal. Buddy rededicated himself to being an activist and used his fame and notoriety, and the fact that he was publicly known to be a superhero, to take down evil organizations and cabals who were experimenting or selling animals on the black market. He went on a spiritual journey as well and learned how to grow even closer to the red. Unfortunately, one of the animal smuggling rings that Buddy had helped to shut down was owned by a cabal that hired a hitman to murder his entire family. As he traveled across the DCU in an effort to find a way to bring his family back to life, Animal Man encountered several heroes, including the Phantom Stranger, and even helped stop a genocidal alternate Superman from another Earth known as Overman by literally leaping through the panel of the comic book. Finally, we learn that after briefly losing control of his powers thanks to a spell cast on him by the evil sorceress Xerxes, Animal Man helped avert the Infinite Crisis and then traveled across the universe alongside fellow heroes Starfire and Adam Strange. We learn of many of their adventures, including a time when they teamed up with the intergalactic bounty hunter Lobo, and when the trio somehow got mixed up in the Rann-Thanagar War. After the event known as Flashpoint Reboot the DCU, Animal Man discovered that his powers were beginning to change on him yet again, bringing him even closer to the red. He then learned that his daughter Maxine was also exhibiting superpowers. We look at a couple of Animal Man's classic stories. First, we look at Animal Man Volume 1, Issue 26. This was the final issue in the extremely successful 26-issue run that Grant Morrison had on this title. And this is the story that shatters the fourth wall completely after Animal Man breaks through the comic book world and into the real world so he can confront the person that murdered his family, writer Grant Morrison. And Morrison puts everything out there on the line. He tells Animal Man that he's nothing more than a comic book character who is created to sell comic books, and that he himself, Grant Morrison, is just one of many different writers that has controlled his actions over many years. Near the end of the issue, after Animal Man has pled his case, Grant Morrison simply looks at him and says to just go home and forget they ever met, and Animal Man wakes up the next day to find his family alive again and well. It's a really fantastic read, and if you want to know more about Animal Man, you should check out Grant Morrison's entire run on the series. We also have Animal Man Volume 2, Number 1. This story takes place after the event known as Flashpoint, which was the cosmic reboot to the DC universe. Basically, it starts everyone out at the beginning yet again, and Animal Man was selected as one of 52 new comics to premiere with the New 52 storyline, as it was called. We learn where he is in this storyline, how he was rebooted, that he's still an extremely famous and talented actor and animal rights activist who is also a publicly known superhero. He also begins to experience weird problems with his powers when his eyes literally start to bleed and he has nightmares about the red and the life web. He also learns chillingly that his daughter Maxine is beginning to exhibit powers similar to his. It's a really well illustrated story and is one of the few bright spots to come out of the New 52, in my opinion. Animal Man's Friends and Foes section features his intergalactic allies, Starfire and Adam Strange, fellow animal-themed hero Vixen, and his teammates on the Justice League Europe. Lastly, Animal Man's iconography section takes a look at some of the other heroes and villains in the DC universe who also channel their powers from the animal kingdom, like prehistoric champion Anthro, the first Cro-Magnon human, and the man who tamed fire. The martial arts master and hero Bronze Tiger, who adapted his moves after his feline namesake. The villainous Catman, who is a member of the Secret Six and is obsessed with cats. Native American schoolteacher John Ravenhair, who accidentally came into contact with an animal totem that turned him into the Black Bison. One of Africa's greatest heroes, Buonabeast, who has the ability to merge two animals together to form a hybrid animal. And finally, the beastly and mischievous spider spirit known as Anansi, who claims to be the one to have created the talisman that gives the hero known as Vixen her powers over the animal kingdom. And here we have Animal Man. also known as Buddy Baker, one of my personal favorite figures out of this entire collection by Eaglemoss. He is really unique as far as I'm concerned, and I think that this figure is a great representation of the character. The sculpt is really nice. You can see his musculature, especially his upper chest and his abdomen there, is really well done. The costume is perfectly done as far as the paint is concerned, with the orange of the costume, multiple shades of blue, the A on the costume, the upper part of his chest and his neck. Even the jacket is a slightly different shade, and his gloves. Love the eagle on the shoulder, which sort of gives the impression of the fact that he has control over the animal kingdom, as well as all the detail on that eagle. We've not really seen anything like that since Centennial Park Superman. It's a cool likeness of Buddy, all the way down to the boots, which have great sculpt, great texture. I love this guy. I think he's so unique looking, especially the costume. I mean, how many other costume characters are there that wear orange besides Aquaman, really? Other than that, I can't think of a whole lot. He's cool to add to your collection if you know and love him. The good by far outweighs the bad on this figure, and I can't wait to show you a little bit more here in the next section, and I'll touch on a couple of minor problems I have with him in just a moment. Animal Man stands atop the classic DC logo, and the underside of the base features his name and serial number. And so you can compare, here he is alongside his friends and allies, Lobo, Starfire, and Adam Strange, alongside his teammates on the Justice League Europe, and finally a group shot with every other member of the Justice League of America that has been produced so far. Animal Man is another surprising figure in this line for me. I'm glad that they included him, but I'm really surprised that they included him at the same time. He's a great looking figure too. The colors, he doesn't look quite like anyone else, and the fact that he has his powers on display, in a manner of speaking, is also very nice. We'll start with the good. I do like the pose, I like his paint job, I think the colors are all perfectly done, and he has such a unique color palette, it's really cool. The sculpting on him is absolutely outstanding, especially on his bald eagle friend there. You can see the boots have great wrinkling and crinkling, the color blue is perfect, it's a nice, deep, glossy navy blue. The legs are nicely sculpted, and I love the orange color. Again, nice shadowing and shading, and you can see the musculature from his bodysuit. It's really well done. On the upper body as well, he's got a nice six-pack, he's got the broad chest. The A on the center of the chest is a nice baby blue. It's a soft blue as opposed to the navy on the rest of the costume. You can see the jacket is also a different shade of blue than the other shades of blue. It's almost a leathery sort of texture that they've given it to. He has all the buttons, the zippers, the trim of the waistline on the jacket and around the cuffs. Even the hands on his hips have those nice navy blue glossy gloves, and they're well done. There's really no bleeding to speak of on those. His head sculpt is nice. It looks mostly like him. I do have some issues, although the skin tone is nice, the flesh tone. His hair color is pretty decent, but there is a little bit of bleeding on the back of the head where the collar meets the hair. And it is a pretty nice head sculpt for the most part. Finally, the thing I think that makes this piece for me is his bald eagle on the shoulder. Fantastic. We really haven't seen anything like that since Centennial Park Superman, and it gets his powers across, that he can communicate with the animal world. Not to mention that this eagle looks fantastic. It's really well sculpted. The feathering on the wings on both sides, the tail, the head, the claws on his shoulders where he's riding along with Animal Man, the beak, everything. It's all very, very nicely done, and really, like I said, makes this figure a standout for me. On to the bad, and the biggest issue I have with this figure is the facial sculpt, the goggles in particular. It just looks wrong. They're too small, they don't look right on his face, they're set too wide apart, and the lenses themselves should not be black. They should be a nice blue or even a pearlescent white. I would have taken that. That's the biggest issue with this figure. In the grand scheme of things, it's minor compared to all of the good on this guy, but it is still pretty bad. Finally, the ugly. The most fragile piece on the figure is the eagle on his shoulder. You want to make sure that it's not broken in the box before you purchase if you can, and you really just want to be careful with it because that part is very fragile. overall, this is another really good figure for me, another one that took me by surprise, and I think another one that most people would probably skip over unless you know this character and you really love this character. It seems we've been getting a lot of those lately. We're going for some of the more obscure heroes and villains at this point, but hey, those are some of my favorite, and Animal Man, like I said, is no exception to that rule. He looks really cool on the shelf, he's diverse, he has a really cool accessory with the bald eagle on his shoulder. I love having him with Lobo and Starfire and Adam Strange, finally having that interstellar group. I like having him with the Justice League as well. He's another dynamic and really cool character that breaks that team up and really helps them look more unique by adding him to the collection. Is he for everyone? No, as I said, he's probably not, but if you know him from the New 52 or even before that, you should definitely pick this figure up, add him to your collection. Otherwise, hold on to your money, get the heroes and villains you truly know and really do want to have, and then maybe think about coming back and picking this guy up later on, because I really think he is cool and there's a lot to appreciate about Animal Man, and I hope you've appreciated my review of issue number 98 here, Buddy Baker. Please stay tuned for a quick teaser trailer of the next figure in the series. We're going back to the Blackest Night, Brightest Day sub-series collection one last time, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, it's the final issue in that series, number 16. Unbelievable, that one's already done. It's another mixed bag for me, though. A great character, and maybe not so great figure, but anyway, that'll be next time. I hope you stay tuned for that quick teaser. As always, I am your host, the Monkey Boy, aka J to his friends. Thanks for watching.